You ever sat down in an interview and realised within a few minutes, this isn't for me. I really don't like the feel here. I don't like the vibe. What am I going to do about this? Let's break it down. The first thing to remember is this actually happens more often than you think. It's a two-way street. So quite often people go for interviews and they get in there and they realise that actually what sounded good from the recruiter, from the headhunter, what looked good on paper actually is very different to what the people are like. Quite often recruiters and interviewers can feel upset about this because they feel that they're the ones in control. They're the ones that are inviting you for the interview and they're the ones with the power and control. Now, this isn't actually true because it is a two-way street. You're there to interview them as much as they are with you. So it does happen quite a lot and you don't need to feel bad about it. So when you realise it's not for you, what do? Do you say, actually, let's stop it there, this is a waste of time, I know this isn't going to work, I'm out of here? Well, you could do that. And that would be one option. However, that does burn a few bridges. If you're working in an industry that is relatively close and closed, then what generally tends to happen is people move around and you'll bump into them again. So the best form of action is to stay composed, stay professional, and to learn from the process. Use it as practice. Ask them some questions, see how they react. At the end of the day, what actually generally happens here is quite ironic, but because you don't want the job and it's quite clear in your own mind you don't want the job, a lot of the time you'll end up being offered this job. That's the best place to be on every level, is to be in a position of the buyer. So you're not going to take the job because you've realised that you don't fit in. But use this opportunity to hone your skills at interview. So what do you actually do? Well, the first thing is you stay engaged, ask some questions, get into a conversation. You'll actually realise, you'll actually learn lots of new things in an interview scenario that you probably wouldn't learn if you really wanted this job. So stay engaged, collect information, note what is wrong with this situation. Have a think about it. You've got nothing to lose because you don't want the job. What's going to happen? The worst case scenario is they'll say, actually, thanks very much. There's not much point in going on. So have a look around, see what you didn't like, see what turned you off, and use that for future reference. As I said, don't burn bridges. It's very likely that one of those people in that room you'll come across again. And it may well be a relationship that could be positive in a different environment. As much as you want to tell them that it's over, you've had enough, keep your poker face. That's a little bit difficult. Sometimes your face can say things your mouth doesn't. So work hard on that. Finally, again, just use it as practice. You've got nothing to lose. So push some boundaries, ask them questions you usually wouldn't. You can test out some scenarios that otherwise you probably wouldn't because you wanted that situation to work positively. This one you really don't care. As long as you're not rude and you stay professional, just use it as a good sounding board for different scenarios. And you'd be surprised how many people do change positively when you are completely relaxed and you don't actually want something. After the interview, respond politely. There's nothing worse than ghosting someone, even if they don't want to hear from you ever again. They don't want to be ghosted. It's just plainly rude. So compose a nice short email saying something along the lines of, after reflection, I really don't believe that this is a good fit for both of us. And thank you very much for your time. It was interesting hearing about your company and maybe we'll cross paths in the future. Something quite simple, something quite vanilla, and end it with a kind regards, your name. And I think the lesson of this is that interviews are a two-way street. You must always look at an interview as a two-way street. You shouldn't be desperate, and you should always do have the option to say no. And you shouldn't be rude. You shouldn't ghost people. If you decide you don't want to do it, just where's the big deal, the massive effort in sending a quick email? You don't have to write a letter these days, lick a stamp and go to the post office. It's a 2-second job. AI will do it for you. So be polite, stay composed, and just do the right thing. So that's what you do if you realise after a few seconds or a few minutes that you actually really don't want the job on offer. And so if you've had this happen to yourself, I'd be really interested to know any comments in the comments, what you learned from it. A few insights, and looking forward to see you again. So like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. This type of information really helps people. Thank you very much.